Teenager therapy, because we have problems too.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Teenager Therapy. I'm Gael.
I'm Kayla.
I'm Thomas.
I'm Isaac.
I'm Mark.
And welcome back to episode 3. No. Welcome
Four.
back to episode 4 of our Light in the Load series with Jansport.
Our
Which-
final
It's the
episode.
final
The last
episode, you're
one.
right. I know. It's been a good month of this series. I think it's a lot of important subjects were covered. It was like
Yeah, a
back
lot.
to back quality.
Of course. These episodes
Thank
have
you,
been my
Jackson.
favorite.
I know, right?
Like,
Maybe it's because we
Yeah.
planned it.
True.
What we said we didn't want to do might have been what was holding us back.
Yep.
So, yeah, thank you, Jansport,
Thank
for
you.
presenting this series and, passing the mic down to us. Light in the Load is a mental health initiative aimed to tackle the mental health crisis among youth and among teenagers, which is why we're talking about all the problems that we face. In this episode, we're talking about one that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. I don't know why we've gone
Have
2 years
you?
without talking about it. Yeah, I think since the
Oh.
beginning, I remember like writing this down and always thought it was so interesting. We're talking about being fucking poor.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go about
Basically,
money.
right?
Yeah.
I
I'll
know.
relate to that one.
Sheesh. So,
Hey.
look, here's the deal. None of us are really rich or wealthy or, for the most part, even like well off, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think I just want to focus on like what that's like and like the kind of pressures that puts on you, because for me, I know that I'm pretty sure I'm like very near the poverty line, if not like at it, which was like, it's so wild, right? Because you always hear about like, people, like, oh, people aren't in poverty, people are living in poverty. You're like, damn, that must be terrible. And then you look at yourself, you're like, oh shit, that's me.
Yeah.
And you don't even realize it, right? And so I think it's so weird because I don't know. I guess ever since I was young, I always saw money as an issue, right? Because you always hear your parents saying that you should save electricity, you should save food, you should save water, you should save everything. And I think I realized that does cause like certain amounts that goes into your like adolescent and like adult years. Because for me, I think constantly just feeling worried about our financial situation, now I realize makes me scared that like money's gonna run out at any time. So every time that I have some money, I like have a habit of saving a lot of it. Because, or no, you know what's weird? If I save 100, then I never like going down under 100. If I save 200, then I don't like going. It's like each new goal is like what I can no longer go
I do
below.
the same thing.
Right?
Yeah,
So then you just keep going.
I do the same thing. I think a part of it sort of stems because I sometimes feel guilty spending money, even though it doesn't really have to be so expensive. Just spending money on myself, I sometimes like doubt myself and I think like, well, can I get this cheaper? Do I really need it? When am I going to be using it? How many times can I use it? And I just start thinking so much because of the emphasis that was put on money when I was growing up, especially like through my parents and stuff. Like my dad, he worked 2 full-time jobs for like the majority of my childhood. Like, I don't know how many years.
Dang, I didn't even know that was
Years,
possible.
possibly. Yeah. So I didn't really see him that much. He came home at night, he'd eat, he'd go to sleep, and then he'd wake up and go to work, and then it'd just be like the full cycle. So I didn't really see him, and I remember him like just being so tired and grumpy. Because obviously if you're working like 2 jobs that aren't really something that you would want to pursue necessarily, it can take a toll on your mental health and like how you feel. So I think that was like evident in the way that he acted and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the same with my mom. All my life, she worked 2 jobs as well. So she would work one in the daytime, and then one in the nighttime. And so like there's only like that small sliver of time where we
Yes.
do like see each other, right? And that's like maybe like 5 to 10. So only like 5 hours. But like in those times, you know, she's using that to sleep because she couldn't sleep from the night shift. And so like because of that, I felt like I couldn't spend time with my mom like during the weekdays. Yeah. So I like totally relate to that, Kayla.
Yeah, same. Like even on the weekdays, I mean on the weekends too. Like he would be tired and stuff, which
Yeah.
is completely understandable. So like I would just let him rest. And
You know, I didn't get that though. You know, like I was very I say like I didn't know back then. I didn't know like how much she was really sacrificing. And then because like she always slept and then I couldn't see her, I thought she like didn't want to be with me or didn't want to, I guess, take care of me. Even though like she's doing this for me. But like back then I just didn't see it.
No, sometimes I would think the same thing too. Like, does he want to spend time with me?
Yeah.
But that's not the case at all.
It's not.
Just like
Uh-huh.
a matter of time.
Yeah.
And they're working for us.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, they're really trying to provide for their kid, you know.
Mhm.
And don't forget that, you know, just to viewers, you know, if this is happening to you, your parents care about you. They really do.
Yeah, I think part of the reason, they're gone so much
Yeah.
that my mom, I remember when I was younger, she would go to work around 2 or 3, I think. And I came home from school at like 2 or something. So there was like an hour that I'd see her.
Yeah.
And then she'd go to work and come back at 12, I think. And so I only got to see her like an hour each day. And I didn't even realize how little that was.
Mhm.
Which meant that like, and that entire time I would spend it like alone, right? And so I'm pretty sure like because our parents work so much, that's, and like why the reason, like, my mom was working so much that I was like forced to become just very independent, right? I had to just, it was up to me to, finish my homework and eat and make myself something to eat and just kind of take care of myself, I guess, and keep myself entertained or company. So it kind of sucks that when you live, in the lower income area, there's so many side effects. One, you're forced to grow up really quickly and just take care of yourself. Two, you have a constant anxiety that money's going to run out and you never know when it might run out. And three, you have to just sacrifice and a lot of things, and you see other people you see other people with new clothes or new things and you wish you had that and going on trips, and then you don't have any of that. So there's like a certain sense of frustration that gets placed on you to make more money, and just because it just, I think for me, I just felt really frustrated with our situation. I wanted to help, and there was a sense of frustration because I wanted to help and I wanted to make money, even though I was only like 13. I was like 13, 12 years old, and I was like feeling frustrated because I felt like I wasn't doing anything and I was just kind of like taking up money without really making any, which is a terrible thing for any kid to have to feel and go through. And I think because of that, now I always feel so hesitant to spend money. Like Kayla said, like I really do stress myself out when I spend money. Like either I don't know. It's weird. I guess I do way too much research into like every purchase to make sure it's like the best thing and it's like the same thing, and then I just get so stressed out that I'd rather just not spend anything at all. So it's weird.
I think my situation is a little more different. I wouldn't say I struggle as badly, and I do have the privilege of having like my parents are really hard workers, and I would like never see them growing up, but they still were able to make enough for my family to go on like trips and cruises and like all this stuff. So I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm poor and I'm struggling too, when I really don't think I am. I was like talking about this with Kayla, where like we get really frustrated when someone who clearly isn't poor is like complaining like, oh my god, I'm so poor, like I can't afford, but they're pretty well off. And it's just very frustrating. So I don't know. I don't want to come off as like someone who is like pretending to struggle when I'm really not. But yeah, I do relate with the whole not really seeing your parents thing, because I never saw my mom or my dad like at all. and we actually had to like stay at my relative's house like for the majority of the week because my parents were always working. And yeah, but besides that, I guess I was never really concerned with money. My parents don't ever tell me anything. I live in a nice house. Honestly, yeah, like I'm very privileged and I'm very, I'm very grateful for, my parents and that I'm able to afford other stuff and not have to worry so much, I guess. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it isn't even just the thing that's exclusive to people that are, low income. Even people with high income don't see their parents, right? People like that have parents that are doctors or, difficult jobs such as those, they also experience the same thing. So I just have so much frustration with the fact that I don't have like the same wealth as others. It's so frustrating seeing other people in like a house or with a car or with a new phone. And I think just knowing that like you're not there yet is so frustrating because I just think I wonder what that must be like, being able to go on trips and stuff.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think one day you'll get there.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how you mentioned earlier how, or like seeing people with like new phones or clothes or whatever, yeah, that was just such a shitty feeling because I was never one to shop at like Urban Outfitters or like PacSun or whatever because for me those stores are just too expensive, and to this day I still like steer away from those stores because I just feel like I don't belong there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense. It just feels so weird to actually like go in and purchase something from there. But I remember, I think it was like 1 year, or I don't know how long this was. But my dad, he like lost one of his jobs. So for Christmas, like we just went to, I think it was like Didi's discount. And we got like, or me and my sister, we got like 3 shirts each. And that was our Christmas. And even then I was like, I felt angry, sort of. I was like, well, why can't we get like, I don't know, just a little bit more. But looking back on it, it was very selfish of me to think that way. But at the same time, I was a kid, so I need to be more lenient with myself and like,
You didn't know
how I was reacting at the time. But now that I'm older, obviously.
Yeah, my mom shopped a
people
lot there at Didi's too, and growing up, I would just wear like whatever my mom got and stuff like that. Like kids around me would always go shopping or whatever, but I would just get whatever. And I would just feel conflicted because, I know that money would be really tight. Yeah, I'd have like dumb expectations that I can like go shopping wherever, And I never described my situation, but like growing up, it would be my brother and my sister that would work the most. And so I just have like really hardworking siblings. And my mom had twins because, I have a twin sister. So she'd have to like always take care of both of us a lot. And, we wouldn't really have like a stable place to live. Like I'd have to live with relatives or like cousins and stuff like that. And so yeah, it was really hard, and we would always be moving to like different schools, different homes. And I think that's why like I'm always so careful with money, because like it's not even like I felt like I had any in the first place. But yeah, and then middle school I got like my own apartment, and that was really cool. And we started doing a lot better off. But I'm just very careful with money because after seeing my siblings like work their ass off for like all these years and stuff like that, like if I don't like make or meet up to their expectations, they're gonna be working their whole lives, and I'm never gonna be able to support them either. Like I just want to give them a break,
Yeah, it sucks that like I think we all wish we would just become extremely rich so we could just support everyone and make sure they never have
like
to work
my
again.
siblings, their parents, no one has to work, and I just work
Yeah.
and pay them back for everything they did.
Yeah. We all feel that sense of responsibility. And I think, what makes me cry so
No,
easily.
please. Stop. I'm already.
No,
Just kidding.
it's just,
Tears do from
I
this,
think
dude.
it's just, I just remember how like, I always tell Thomas this, but like, when things used to just be so simple, right? When you were younger, like in middle school, and you would, if you wanted to go out, like you would ask your mom if she had like, I would ask my mom if she had just any money, and she would just give like, she would give me like $15 or $20, which was a lot for her, right? And I just remember like, it's just so cute and just so innocent, just being able to go like shop somewhere to the mall or something with my $20 and feeling like I had like so much money, and just, I guess, just the innocence that like that was so simple, and that's what you were like. I was happy with that, right? I never like the thought of having $50 was wild.
That's crazy.
That was
stop,
crazy.
stop.
That was crazy,
really was.
right? Like
Uh-huh.
$50 is like, that's not possible. 20 was like the max. That was like just amazing to me, and just I think sometimes money makes things a lot more complicated, and there's a certain innocence in just how simple it is being young and not aware of like financial situations, and just being happy with what you have. And yeah, that's just something that I think about. It's just like, sometimes, even though I'm like, I live just in like a small apartment and just, have a very modest lifestyle for the most part, is like, I still feel like I'll miss it even if I ever do get like a huge mansion or something, right? Like I feel like I would look back on this like small apartment and just feel like this is kind of like, it's where you grew up, and just to think that like you might get out of this situation is so, I don't know. I don't know if it's scary or concerning, but it feels weird to know that you won't live it. That hopefully I won't live in this apartment my entire life. It's like, not sure if it's something I want or not.
I mean, I get you. I've lived in like the same apartment for 20 years.
Dang.
Yeah. So that's been like the only place I've ever known really to be my home. So to think that, I can like move away or like that not be my home, it is a crazy surreal thought. But yeah.
But like, I'm at least happy I lived in the apartment, and like, even if money was tight, like those values that you learn, like it humbles you a lot. I feel like in the future, when you get a hold of money, you'll be like a lot smarter.
Yeah. I think being poor is essential to knowing that you're rich, right? Like
Yeah.
you can't, if you've been wealthy your entire life, you don't know what it's like to be wealthy, because this is your normal. If you've been poor, you know what it's like to go up, but if you're at the top, you can't know what that's like. And I guess that does make me glad that like I'm not entirely angry at the fact that I am just very, very poor. I think it's just kind of like, I realize that like there is a lot that I learned, and like a big reason for this, the persistence and the motivation and the drive that I have is due to like feeling trapped and feeling like if I don't get my stuff together, I will never get out of it. And so I feel this immense pressure to just figure something out, right? And that's, I think, the reason I've been able to have successes like the podcast and such. And also I think that damn, I forgot what I was gonna say. I think what was I gonna say? I don't remember.
You okay?
It's okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah. You good?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Do you want
I
me
have
to go?
something to
Oh,
say.
okay.
All right. Yeah. Just from hearing everybody, I'm just really glad that I'm able to relate to all of you guys, and just to be sympathetic. If I didn't grow up like this, I didn't have the experience that I had to this day, I don't think I'd be able to relate the same way that I do right now. And because of that, just because I just grew up like this kind of life, I learned to be more sympathetic towards other people,
Yeah.
which is really nice.
I think for me, I always kind of grew up like very ungrateful, I guess. Like I took a lot of things for granted. I didn't realize like how much better my situation really was than other people. And I just took so many things for granted that a lot of people would really want in life, you know? And I didn't really have this realization until like I don't remember when exactly, but when I realized like most of my friends were, you know, they didn't live in houses and they were in apartments and they never really went on any trips or anything like that. Like it made me realize how fucking spoiled I really was and how I would be like really inconsiderate. Like I always, I guess like I kept making plans to do this and that when I didn't realize, you know, they didn't have money and that's why they couldn't go. And I never really understood that for some reason, but I'm, you know, I realized that I guess um hanging out with like I don't want this to come out the wrong way, but I guess hanging out with like people that aren't exactly
Poor people.
like
People of low
Low
income.
income.
people
Hang
of
out with
low
poor people.
income,
Now
it
I
makes
get it,
me
yeah.
just realize like how ungrateful I am, and it humbles me, I guess. Like it makes me really value every little thing in life and, you know, be sympathetic
Yeah.
towards everyone, you know.
Mm-hmm. In the future, you know, we won't grow up like a dick.
Yeah,
You know, we won't be dicks.
Yeah.
exactly. And you know, tying that into our sponsor for this episode, which is Jansport, I think it's important that we talk about this kind of stuff because the impact that these kind of things can have on you. People, especially with money, you know, I don't think people like talking about money. And so, you know, thank you to Jansport for giving us the opportunity to talk about money and and you know, making sure that's known to other people that it's fine to talk about. And I think Lighten the Load is a really good initiative, and it's a really it's nice that companies are willing to touch on subjects that others aren't. So thank you for that, Jansport, for sponsoring us and allowing us to do this. And I think yeah, they're it's a great Lighten the Load is a great initiative. You can go to jansport.com/lighten the load and kind of see everything they have to offer. Like I said in the previous episode, they have a bunch of resources to help you. If you're struggling with your mental health, check out jansport.com/lighten the load and just take a look at what they offer. We're on the website as well, which is pretty cool. And yeah, it's a great thing. And also, they are giving you 20% off. So if you use code teenagertherapy, all one word, all caps, you get a 20% off discount, which is also very nice. So, with that being said, you know, thank you, Jansport, for sponsoring us. And I think that ties into like my next point that like first thing is that like the fact that like my family income is already so low, to go lower than this would be like impressive, right? I would have to really fuck up to go lower than this. And that kind of, I guess, does give me a sense of comfort that it's 90%, there's a 90% chance that like my situation will be better in the future. And that's nice to know. And also it's just, I think sometimes I it's wild to me that this podcast is now something that makes us money, right? You know, whenever we have sponsors or whenever we have companies sponsor us, we make money from that. And it's so mind-blowing to me that like just one sponsorship could make us more money than like what my mom makes an entire year of working. And that really just makes me realize like how just grateful I am for this, I guess. How grateful I am for it. It gets me, I don't know what kind of feeling I feel, but it gets me emotional just realizing like that I have the opportunity to do this and make money from this because one, it's something that is genuinely helpful to people, right? And it helps a lot of people. and it spreads a good message, and I think that makes me proud of myself, knowing that if I'm making money, at least I'm doing it and for a good reason and for a good cause, and it's helping people, I guess. I think that makes it a lot more fulfilling. So thank you for listening and supporting us and just giving us the chance to make money from this. And it's so wild that just because you listen to this, just because you listen to our words and you take in all of it and you process it, that's enough to change our lives completely. And your individual action of listening to this podcast and this episode is completely changing our financial situation, right? So thank you for that. And I do want you to know that I appreciate you so much. And I wish I could meet you. I do wish I could meet you.
Yeah, it's like super crazy to think about like all the opportunities that we've been given. It's all because of you guys, and you're actually interested in hearing about our lives and hearing about our experiences. And I don't know, like it hits me sometimes. Like sometimes I don't realize how meaningful it really is for you guys to take time out of your day to listen to us talk. And yeah, we all really appreciate it.
So today I was reading the Instagram messages that Gael sent from when we first started, and reading that, it just made me feel so emotional. How Gael was saying, like, just reading the screenshots made my like eyes tear up, because we, like, I know we said it so many times, but like I wouldn't have pictured this growth for us. And sometimes I feel almost like not deserving of it. Like I always think like, well, like, you know, somebody could be doing this position like much better than me, or there's like always gonna be somebody else, right? And so sometimes like I let that get in my head a little bit, but I just want to say like thank you for listening. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know why it gets me so
I know, I'm
emotional
like, tearing up.
thinking
I
about
had
it.
to stop talking, or else I was gonna start crying.
Like I don't know why I cry when I say this. I think it's just a mix of just so much gratefulness for you, so much love for you, and just knowing that like everyone's a real person genuinely listening is so I don't know. It's so nice. And also thinking about like sometimes the relief of it, right? That like we've been successful so far and we've made money off of it so far, and that alone is like there's a big sense of relief in that. And even though it's not nearly enough, and we still have to keep going and keep doing our thing, it's still like sometimes I just look back and reflect on just how far we've come with this, and it's so just bewildering to see and just to feel, I guess, especially thinking
Yeah.
about how much could have gone wrong.
Yeah, like not only has the support been really helpful in just our like financial like state, it's also been really amazing for like my mental health. Like I don't think, you know, with the without the podcast, I wouldn't have been able to grow so much. Like each of us, I think each of us has gone through so much personal growth and become such different people than where we were originally at the start. And I think it's really all because of the podcast, and it feels really nice when I get your guys' messages, and when I realize like how much support I actually have like I don't know. I remember I was reading this like YouTube comment, I think, and it was just talking about I like it broke my heart watching like hearing Thomas cry and be how like so sad about his life, and I'm just so happy that he's getting better, and it made me bawl my eyes out. Like I don't know, it's really nice, you know. It's just so heartwarming. It's amazing to know that there's a support system, and even though I don't see you guys and I don't interact with you guys, you know, all the time, I know you guys are there, and that gives me a lot of comfort. So thank you.
Yeah, I think I also feel like frustration, you know, not being able to help you more, because it is unfortunate that a lot of you are struggling with mental health, and you know, you might be struggling with depression or anxiety or PTSD or bipolar disorder or addiction or heartbreak, you know, your sexuality, anything that you might be struggling with. And it does make me feel frustrated that I can't help you on a personal level. You know, I can't directly comfort you, and I wish I could, but yeah. I think my hope is that my hope is that you do find comfort in this, and that you feel less alone, because it's 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 sometimes hard to believe, but it's hard to believe, but it is really possible to get a lot of comfort from someone you've never met, and I understand that, which is why I feel like we have a responsibility to just, I don't know. I don't even know what we have a responsibility to do. I just know that I want to help you, and I hope to keep helping you as much as I can, in the same way that you help us, right? By supporting us and listening, which and then allows us to make money and, you know, feel comforted by you guys. So I guess we're both comforting each other, which is nice. But Mark, you gotta go.
I do. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Mark has to go to work.
Yeah.
For those that don't know,
I
He's
did.
getting money.
He's
Hello.
getting money, changing his life.
you're working.
Yeah.
That's wild. We should have talked about that.
What?
That you're getting a job, you're making your own money.
Yeah, that's. I guess I can talk about it like real quick.
Yeah.
You know, main reason why I'm getting this job is basically to save up for a car, and I think that's it, to be honest with you. But like, that's pretty much it. I'm just, I just got this job. It was interesting. It was interesting getting the job. You know, lots of different perspectives, and I guess it's like shows that we're growing up. You know, sooner or later we're gonna be filing for taxes, and maybe filing for financial aid. We already did that for financial aid. I haven't done it yet. That's why I'm saying that. But yeah, so and then I guess the thing with growing up too, it's like basically just setting up goals for yourself. Find out what you want to do with your life. And then soon, like once I get my car, I'm gonna be like creating goals for something else. Maybe like, oh, then I'm gonna go, save up for books. Oh, an apartment. Yeah, save up for an apartment. Get a credit card.
Have your own responsibilities.
Exactly. It's like as each year goes on, we get more responsibilities. And like for me, right now, for me, it's the job. That's my new responsibility, and I don't know what's gonna be coming, up next. You know what I'm saying? And then sooner or later, or as time comes, like my next goal is gonna be having a family or like having kids. or like first of all like finding a wife. But okay, but or I guess
Stop talking.
you know just like it's gonna come back full circle because my mom had me when I was 23. No, when she was 23. So just just reaching that age, I'm probably not gonna have kids by then, but like just reaching the age where I do have my own kids, I'm gonna be at the same state where my mom is at right now.
Okay, at 23, maybe you will.
Maybe I don't know. You never know.
Yeah, you never
But
know.
like it's gonna be I guess like bittersweet just to see like, huh, am I doing better than mom right now? Am I at the same stage? Like you don't know, but I guess like the whole like point is just to use their sacrifices so that you can have a better life because that's all they wanted, they're making sacrifices so that their kid can have a better life, and it keeps on going, and then I'm gonna sooner or later make sacrifices so that my kids can have a better life.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
yeah,
Thank you,
that's
Mark.
all I gotta say.
I think the other
Kind
thing.
of strayed away from. It's okay.
No, I think it all directly does tie to money because, like, financial stress, right? And just like the pressure I feel from making money and the relief I feel from the fact that I'm making money from something makes me grateful. And, like, the other thing is, like, I do think money will make me happier because the reason I want money is for two reasons. One, freedom, and two, to help others. I want to help others and I want to have the freedom to do the things I want to do. And I want to have enough money to do so. And I think that's why I really, really want to make a lot of money so I could do all of those things.
I want to be able to get the financial freedom like, my siblings, my mom couldn't. And, just get enough money to do whatever they want to do, like travel, like drive around, buy whatever they want. I just want to be able to provide that for them.
Yeah.
I'm just like so grateful that like how much my parents have sacrificed. Like moving from Vietnam to America hasn't been easy. And I didn't always live in this house and all that. So yeah, real big shout out to my immigrant parents for working so fucking hard all the time and letting me live a happy and comfortable life and trying to give me the best
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Thank
do.
you.
I do appreciate my mom a lot for working so hard. I don't think it's easy being an immigrant for anyone, really. And yeah, it's not easy being that, but
I think traveling, like, it's such a not like minuscule thing, but it's not super something like that's put an emphasis on. It really is such a luxury that I take for granted because, like, my mom, she hasn't really gone anywhere, and it's just so sad.
Because you just like want them to experience everything they wanted, like your mom, may have always wanted to go to Europe, like my mom always have, and it's like I really, really want her to see the world one day, and yeah, like it's sad because you can't do that right now. So, but in the future, you just hope that all your hard work and effort pays off and you can finally, let your mom relax and have like those luxuries in life.
Exactly. Like, I would love to have a car and take her to like San Diego at least, like an hour to 2 hour drive, or to like Santa Barbara, just anywhere but home because, and like she's mentioned before how she'd like to visit New York when it's Christmas time, and I would love to do that. So hopefully one day.
One day.
hopefully one day.
Yeah, and there's always like complications with jobs and stuff, and seeing how like money has just caused so many complications with, like, you know, my parents' marriage, or just like the way they interact with the family and stuff. Like, my mom, she got her first job, like first ever job, when she was like 40 something, and I was like so proud of her, because, you know, her job was like taking care of me and my siblings, but now that we're, you know, older, we can do that ourselves. So to see her, like, you know, get her first ever job, it was like, is that how, like, me going to school for the first time was for her? Because that was just, it was, I don't know, it was like sad, and I also felt happy for her, but at the same time, kind of, I don't know, it was like she was growing up, even though she's literally 40. She's like 40 something. It was just like, I don't know, seeing her like go out of her comfort zone and like put herself out there just to make money for herself and, you know, my siblings. It was just, it's something that I'm so grateful for.
Yeah. It sucks seeing your parents stress themselves out over a job or over money. And like knowing you can't really do anything and wishing you could just make like ensure that they don't have to do things they don't want to do. It's so heartbreaking, but we'll get there eventually. I hope.
I hope.
You know.
We will. We will.
Well, but
Yeah.
confident.
We will. I definitely will. It would really take a lot for me to
Give up.
make less money than I do now to be in a worse financial situation.
And to give up and settle. Like, I don't think I'd ever settle like that. If I was like 30, 40, I still wouldn't settle.
Yeah, and apparently like money doesn't increase your happiness past 75,000.
That surprised me so much.
Me too. So maybe that's the goal, just 75,000, then you settle.
Wait, what if you buy like $100,000 car that you like?
Exactly. That's what I feel
I
like.
think it just depends if like material things make people happy or not.
Yeah.
As long as I have enough money to support myself and let me do whatever I need to do, like travel and stuff. You know, I don't need like a big house or anything. It would be nice, but I think all I really want is to let me and my family live a very comfortable life and have really cool experiences.
Yeah.
I also kind of want to talk about like the feeling of isolation that can come with coming from a low income family, especially when you have friends that, you know, like have houses and like their parents are, you know, financially well off or things like that. I sometimes still feel it, like it's in a separate friend group. Everybody except me, like they have their own house, they have cars that like their parents got them, and of course I'm happy for them. Like, you know, I'm so happy that they're able to have a car and, you know, their own room, you know, just things like that. But it's still like, it kind of hurts, if that makes any sense. Like, I don't know, do you feel that?
It's so hard just I guess it's just I think it's just the feeling of sometimes it sucks when it doesn't seem like they're grateful for it, or like
Oh
when they
my
don't
God.
understand what they
Yes.
have.
Like the
Yes.
biggest example for that is like I'd be at school, right? Someone's like, I live right here, but I don't want to walk home. I want to get a ride. And me, like, I've literally never had a car. Like, my mom hasn't had a car
Mhm.
since like we were born, right? And so since I have to walk everywhere, it's just they're just so ungrateful for it. Like, oh, why don't you just get a ride?
Yeah.
I feel too ashamed to be like, oh, I don't have a car.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want? What do they want me to say? Like, just people need to learn how to be more considerate for that.
Yeah.
I think I was like that. Like I was mentioning earlier, like I hated walking and it was like, no, like I'd rather just like have someone pick me up. And I didn't realize how like obnoxious and spoiled that actually sounded. But yeah.
Yeah. It's just it's so frustrating.
If you're like that, please, like be a lot more considerate and
Yeah.
don't be a little fucking asshole about it.
Yeah, and don't rush your friends who like may not have transportation and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
And try and like be a lot more mindful when you were making plans to go out and stuff. And yeah, you
Yeah.
know.
It does annoy me when people would make plans like unaware of, even if they are aware of someone's like situation, they like, I don't know, they would suggest like expensive restaurants or expensive things. And I was just like wonder, like, are they not aware? Do they not know? Do they not care? Like, do they not have it through their minds that like some people might not have enough money to afford that? So yeah, it's frustrating seeing people with luxuries, things that we consider luxuries, as them being just a normal thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
I think, sorry.
no, go ahead.
I sometimes let that like fact that like I was, and I'm sure that they don't even view it that way, but like I felt sometimes I was like pretending. Does that make any sense? Because you know, like they had houses and stuff, and then there's me like in an apartment, like just there. Even like I know they don't think that, but sometimes like I can't help but like feel that way, you know?
That what?
Does that like I feel so like isolated in a way. Yeah.
From what?
I think how you were mentioning like the luxuries, you know, how like I would want so badly for like my dad or somebody to be able to like, you know, like get me a car or something, but it's never happened for any of my siblings. So I know it's not gonna happen to me, and I know that like I need to work, and I'm fine with that. Like I'm willing to, you know, just so I'm able to like get what I want. But sometimes it's just like I just wish so badly that it didn't have to be like this hard.
Yeah, everything's a lot harder for us.
Yeah.
Which is so terrible. It seems so unfair how much harder everything is, that you have to do everything yourself.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things you can't have. And yeah, it gets tiring just how hard it is. Just how difficult everything becomes. You can't get a job because you can't get there. You don't
Oh
have
my
a
God.
car because you don't have a job.
It's like, what do you do?
Everything's a loop. Everything is so difficult.
That's why like it's really annoying when people say like, "Oh, if you work really hard, then you can beat the system and all that." But there are so many obstacles and things that prevent you from ever like reaching that. And I think people don't realize that like the reason they were able to do it was because they had the car. They had someone who could drive them to work. They they had the time to do it, and not everyone has those, luxuries to even be able to go to work. So, yeah. I think that's really annoying.
Yeah. I think this episode is so messy. And I think
Yeah.
part of that is just because I don't know how to explain that being poor is hard and sad, right?
Very sad.
So there's no other way to explain it besides just crying about my frustrations.
Mm-hmm. And I don't want this to come across as like us, you know, just crying because we're not like the most financially stable, but we, you know, we are so privileged, you know, we have a roof over our heads, you know, we're able to have food and things like that. So I don't want it to be completely like we're just complaining.
Ungrateful.
Yeah, and ungrateful
Yeah.
and unappreciative, because we really are like of everything that we have and everything that you, the listeners, have given us. So yes.
Yeah. I keep that in mind. That's what I was gonna say earlier, is that like, even though I live, in a tiny apartment and don't always have the best things or the best cars or, the best just situation in general, I do think of just I do try to I take time to be grateful often, and like remember that, like, this apartment is small, but it does feel very nice and just cozy, and it feels like home. And there's a lot of people that don't have that, and you know,
Oh my God, that
fucking
scared me.
Google. I'm crying, dog. Chill. And just being grateful that, like, there are a lot of things that other people wish they had. There's a lot of people that wish they had the success of, our podcast. There's a lot of people that wish they had a phone like mine or a computer like mine. And that's something that I take for granted. And it's not something that I take for granted. I mean, it's something that I'm very grateful for. And, that does help. But it's also important to acknowledge that just because someone has it worse doesn't mean you can't also feel bad about your situation.
Exactly. Yes. Very well said.
But unless anyone else has something to add.
Yeah. Sometimes I think about the way that people like might perceive me, because on the outside, like I have an iPhone 11, I have a MacBook. Like if that's anything, people like would view that. I'd be like, well, she has that. She must be somewhat well off. And like sometimes by the way I dress, which literally 90% is like thrifted.
Yeah.
Thrifted, or rarely, very rarely is it ever like in store, like purchase or whatever. And some people might think that like, like I live in a house.
I did.
Thomas has
I
told
did
me.
tell Kale, like, you seem like a house girl.
Yeah,
There's,
and
like-
it's so weird
Yeah,
to
like-
think that like people think I live in a house. Like I live in an apartment, So yeah, it was just a thought that how other people like might perceive me based on what I have,
Yeah.
which I'm extremely grateful for. Like my dad was able to buy that for me, and my parents, so I'm super grateful for that. But yeah.
I think this episode, like, I couldn't really, like, I could relate to it, but I couldn't really, really relate to it, And I really want to make it clear that I am very fortunate, like, to, like, not have to struggle so hard. Like, I know my situation isn't as bad, and it's relieving and very comforting to know that. And I feel sometimes guilty to like be sitting here and like listen to everyone talk about like how how hard they have it, and it makes me feel really guilty. And I'm just like, I mean, like, I know it's not really my fault or like or anything like that, but I am living in a, like, my room is pretty big, and I can like afford nice things and all that. So yeah, and it also kind of like made me realize that there are still some like habits of mine, like of like not really understanding other people's financial problems and stuff. Because when Kayla was talking about like how her friends all live in houses and stuff, and how she kind of feels like an outsider, it made me feel really bad because I never really thought about that. I never really like thought about how maybe I'm being really inconsiderate when I'm just like talking about like the car that like I got from my older brother, and how like it's not like my favorite car, but it's a car. And I didn't realize how fucked up that really is. But I think these conversations kind of made me self-reflect on how grateful and how blessed I actually am. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think, you're not, I think a lot of people listening to this also feel the same way. And I hope you don't feel guilt over that. If you aren't, if you've never experienced this, you're very lucky. So don't feel guilty. Don't blame yourself for this. Don't feel like we're trying to guilt trip you of like, look how bad our situation is. Feel bad for us. I hope this doesn't come off as whining. It is simply a very real and raw conversation about our situation, and that's all it is. So if you don't experience this and if you don't relate to this, the only thing I ask you to take from it is that you be grateful and you remind yourself to be grateful for what you have. And if you ever catch yourself feeling like you don't have enough, take a moment to just truly appreciate that you have more than some people, and that often leaves you feeling grateful and fulfilled. So yeah, and if you do relate to us, I'm sorry, but we're in this together, and we just gotta work hard or work smart, not hard. Probably just work smart, and hopefully get out of our situation. And we'll do our best, but at least you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like just in general, after like any episode airs or something, and like you just want to talk about what we talked about, like you can always DM me. Like in the forgiveness episode, I remember one of our listeners they DM'd me saying like how what I said about how I felt about forgiveness and like being resentful and all that stuff. How they're just it was helpful for them, and that just made me feel really happy because like my words, I don't know, that people are really taking it into consideration. So if like with any episode or anything, like just DM me, please.
Yeah, and you could also leave a comment on YouTube since this will be on YouTube. So leave a comment, just tell us what you think, anything you want to say. We do read all the comments, all of them, and they do mean a lot. We'll be responding to some, liking some, so go leave one at our YouTube channel. But yeah, I guess that's it. Any last words, Isaac? No last words from Isaac. But yeah, thank you for listening. Follow us everywhere at Teenager Therapy. Thank you, Jansport, for sponsoring the episode. Jansport.com/lightintheload. Teenager Therapy, all caps, all one word. Get 20% off. Do your thing. And yeah, we appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.